1. And good evening, everybody. It's 8 o'clock. It's Wednesday. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Paul. It's actually 12 o'clock here. Still Wednesday.
It must be time for spiritual talk. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just laughing because Sharon's just put, and it's Crackerjack. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks for that. It's going back in the past. Who remembers Crackerjack? Wow. I'm probably way too old. It's what we used to have on the TV here when we was kids, Jane.
Okay, because I'm like, I know Cracker Jacks here is like a popcorn mix with a toy in the bottom. So I'm like, that's different.
People of a certain age from the UK would remember Crackerjack. That's all I'm saying. Moving on swiftly. Showing me age now, Sharon. You are showing. Anyway, hi, everybody. Hi, Serena.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Melody.
And also Alan, sorry, my good friend Alan's come on as well. Hi, Alan. It's good to see you on here. And Carol, it's good to have you guys. We've got another great guest this evening. Unfortunately, Shelley couldn't make it tonight. But as they say, out of the fire comes the phoenix. We've got an amazing guest tonight, Libby Cook. She is a trance medium, but also, interestingly, an animal communicator. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But we also want to talk a lot about her trance work. We've just literally spoke to Libby just before she came on there. She's literally just come in from a marathon 6-hour session of work. So she's not. Let's just get Libby in right now. Hi, Libby.
Hi, Libby.
Hi, good evening.
How are you? How are you feeling? How are you doing? Because you were saying you've just come back from a bit of a long session of working.
That's right. So I've just been doing, they mix it up. When I go out to work at yards, the clients always get what they want, but more importantly, they get what they need. And it always has a healing aspect.
Yeah.
So I've just been doing spirit animals, spirit people, trance healing, and animal communication.
Wow.
But in order to do that, what we call in the trance work, change my levels. So they increase the energetic field around me. They change my frequency. So everyone will experience it differently. I become quite heightened so they can move the healing energies through me. So all the colours become sharper. I can see every single bubble in this glass of water. I can hear sounds that I wouldn't normally be able to hear. And we call it changing our levels. Any trance medium will understand that. It's very much linked with the trance work, but a lot of evidential mediums will also experience it. They just probably don't recognize it.
Yeah. So how does one, if someone's sitting at home right now going, well, how do I know if I'm a trance medium? How do I know if I have that gift? Is that something for you yourself? How did you fall into trance?
So I literally did. I'm the most active person you could possibly find. So we're all born either naturally active or naturally passive. Those that are naturally active will find things like evidential communication easier. And those that are naturally passive will find trance work easier. So I had to work hard at learning to be passive in order to do trance. You will find you will naturally be able to do one or the other at the beginning. My journey then evolved and I mainly do trance work now. So just let your soul take you to where you need to be. Everybody can do trance. All trance is an altered state. Everything we do within mediumship is an altered state. So if you can do one, you can do it all. But it will just depend to what degree.
Ah, interesting. That wasn't me.
It wasn't me either.
I'm so how unprofessional am I? That was me. I'll own up.
It also proves that we are live.
I'm so sorry. It was in case I couldn't get on via my phone, so I brought my tablet in case.
Oh, brilliant. Good. So how did it all start for you though, Libby? Literally, how did you come into becoming a medium?
So we are all born mediums, as you know, Paul and Jane. But what got me working for spirit, I lost my mom and my horse in the same year.
Oh, okay.
Looking back now, I had lots of experiences with the spirit world, like every single one of us has, but we don't recognize it. So it wasn't until I started wanting to hear from my mom and I went searching. And when I went searching, I was led into the churches. And from there, I just developed. So out of the most darkness I've ever felt in my life came the light. Yeah.
It's interesting from well, a lot of mediums that we've interviewed on Spiritual Talk, there's always that tragic moment. There's always something that kind of they come out the other end finding they have these abilities or being drawn towards the light, being working for spirit world. So yeah, but you're also an animal communicator.
Yeah, I'm very much about the animals. I live with Pablo the pig.
I was going to mention Pablo because he's the love of your life, isn't he?
He is, and I've got my 2 rescue dogs. So we're all animal communicators. It's just sometimes we have to pause and listen, because when we pause and listen is when we hear. And each and every one of us is able to be an animal communicator, a medium, but it's when we want it, and we search for it, and we just take a pause so we can listen. But from a very young age, I've just naturally, especially horses, I've naturally just understood horses, and I didn't realize I was communicating with them until I started doing it professionally. So it's just something, when my mom died, I was like, I want to be an animal communicator. And I realized once I've been on this journey, I've been doing it all my life. And most people that have animals, well, in fact, all of them are actually communicating with their animals. They just don't realize the signs that they're talking to them. It's a beautiful gift that we all possess. Oh, there's Pablo.
I love it.
Sorry, I couldn't resist this.
It's just now you haven't shown his true stature though, Paul, because he looks very demure there. If you'd have done the side shot,
hold on. I'll see if
we got a side shot. I sent you a side shot.
I might have. I'm sorry, I crashed. Oh, here we go. There's a little
video.
Oh,
here we go. This is him in his nest.
Look, he's a handsome boy.
Yes. Just want to squish him. Give him a big hug.
Oh, he loves snuggles, Jane. He really does. So the spirit world sent me Pablo because when I lay with him, my energy changes. I become calm. And animals have that effect on us, especially horses have a huge electromagnetic field. But when we are around animals, we become still, and their energy then helps change our energies. It's a very beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, but okay, so many questions. I know, but how do you process that communication? Do you know what I'm saying? So,
on an individual basis. So how everyone works mediumistically and everyone's mediumship's unique to them. So you have got a baseline with all mediumship. You know, you'll get pictures, all your clairs, clairaudient, clairvoyant, etc. And it's the same with the animals. I work mind to mind with them. So a lot of animal communicators work within the auric field, but I actually chat to them in the moment, like I do with spirit. I very work mind to mind. So I don't get pictures. I open my mouth and it just comes out, and I can chat free way with their owners to them. But especially in the early days, I would get feelings, not really pictures, I won't lie, but a lot of my friends will get pictures. It's a knowing. All it is, you just need to sit quietly and just tap into their energy, and you will start to feel things back. You will feel when they're happy or sad. And it's just about sitting and developing it. So it works exactly the same as evidential communication. Whereas you're working soul to soul with the spirit world, you're just working soul to soul on the earth.
Interesting. So Carol said, I have only had communication with one cat, a hairless Egyptian who was sending healing, and he was an old soul, and I've been with his owner for many lifetimes. I don't hear my other pets. So
is she talking about them down here or in the spirit world?
No, from around her. She has communication with her cats around her and other animals around her.
You will find, so depending on their personality is also how they come through. So if you've got a cat that is very vocal in your face, the information will just flow a lot more. Also, you will find if the cat is on a soul level. So you will automatically, energetically be linked with some animals more than others. And that way you can hear them more. But the others will be speaking. It will just be that it will be on a different, it will come in differently. And she isn't recognizing that they are.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to put this up as well, because I want to go back to you doing your trance work. And I want to go specifically about how, do you understand who you're working with, your team, your guides? Do you have an awareness of that?
No, and the reason being, so when I do trance, you will hear my voice change quite a few times, depending where in the consciousness the information's coming from. Okay. And this is what so I've got no boundaries in my mind. So the spirit world very much with me want to show people where the information comes from. So because it's an amalgamation of thousands and thousands of minds and it changes, I don't know who I work with. There is one person who had a life on Earth that occasionally comes and chats, and that's the only one, because I don't need to know, because it isn't. A lot of them haven't even had lives within a physical form, a human physical form. But they have to show us that in order for us to sometimes feel safe, for sometimes feel more connected. But for me personally, because it comes from all different aspects of the consciousness, I've never asked, and it's not been brought. I do know a lot of them, though, haven't had a human physical form.
I know there was a famous medium, and I hope somebody can remind me on the messages here. There was a famous medium going back to the 50s and 60s that her guide, she believed her guide to be a Red Indian. And one day after like 25 years of working together, he turned around and said, I'm ready to show myself in my true form. And it turned out to be some kind of alien. So
well, what it is so you will find that the guides that come forward, whether this is evidential or trance, and this is what's come through in the trance, by the way, this is me talking on behalf of my trance team now, that very much within, we needed as humans to gravitate towards things that made us feel safe and made us, and also what our souls recognized. So they will often bring monks forward if people at the start of the journey to bring calmness. They'll often bring Red Indians because that's synonymous with
I had a
the
monk.
old. Yeah, everyone does.
And a nun.
Well, but it was just what they showed you in that moment, because it's all about the intent. So when we're calm in our energy and we're truly open, that's when they can bring what they need to bring. And this is what's changing in the world of mediumship. They are bringing forwards now where you will be less focused on a human form, what you're working with, and you'll just have the acknowledgement that you're working with the whole of the consciousness, because you're not working with one person. You're working with minds within a frequency. Do you want me to explain that, or is that getting a bit better? Okay. So when you're working, so minds within a frequency is a collection of minds that are within a frequency range. So when people say they're working with the angels, what they're actually doing is working within that frequency. So we've labeled it the angels, which is fabulous, because that just brings, doesn't it, just light, love,
it does.
purity.
Absolutely.
But
Total
it's a
trust.
frequency. And so if you see me do trance, you will see that seamlessly my voice will change. And it's to show the audience that there's a frequency change, but it's an amalgamation of minds within a frequency. So it's not one person, but it's a very human. It allows us to feel safe, doesn't it, when we're working with the spirit world, to think that we've got one human form working with us.
Yeah.
It creates more openness in your consciousness, but you'll find, especially in the trance work, this is all evolving now. So that's what I've been told in the trance.
Yeah, it makes very much perfect sense. But for you though, as for Libby, where do you go? Where does your consciousness go?
It goes wherever they want to take it.
But are you aware of what's going on around you? Are you aware of that moment?
It all depends where they've put me. So another thing I've noticed with my trance personally, they are putting me. Everyone is quite, not obsessed, that's an awful word, but everyone is always on about, I must go deep in the trance. I must, and the spirit world now, they're able to run new energies through our energy fields. The structure of our energy fields changed. And that's what this change in consciousness is about. This is trance talk again. So what, sorry, I forgot what the question is. I'm still in an altered state. I must apologize.
So basically, and that says itself. So you're still in the altered state. So
yeah. This is coming from them. I'm connecting to them to give you these answers. So I do apologize.
That's wonderful.
I find that in my mediumship that I start to slip my conscious. I can't bring a conscious thought of my own. It's almost like I'm starting to lose my conscious awareness.
And you won't, because you're in your subconscious to work with spirit.
Yeah.
So, but with the trance medium, we stay in our subconscious. Obviously, working evidentially on a platform with clients, you have to come back into your conscious mind a bit to say, if they give you a no, or do you understand that? And then you drop back down. Yeah. Trance mediums, we just stay in that passive state. So with me and my consciousness, they've just told me what you asked originally. So it's changing. They put me where they only just need me so they can truly use the energies to do different things. So in the trance mediums of old, they were very much, and this is just personally for me, I must stress that, I can only talk about my experiences, not a collective of trance mediums, but they very much put me where they've just got a hold on me so that they can use the energies they're feeding through for other things and not to keep me in this really deep hold. So the old trance mediums wouldn't have heard what was going on. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Depending where the energy is coming from, the consciousness very much depends where they put me as well.
I know when we spoke on the phone, and for a medium, it's quite interesting to connect with the voice. And you really feel, if you're just listening to the voice and you can't see someone, you really feel that person, if that makes sense. Clairsentient.
You should. Yeah, because sorry, Paul.
When I was talking to you the other day, I'm not joking, people. This lady is genuine. I could feel the spirit around her, with her, and through her. And there's something you said, and you touched on it a little while ago, about how spirit is changing the way we give messages. And do you want to explain a bit more about that? Because I think it's really, really important at this time.
Okay, so this comes through in the trance again. Okay. So they very much need us sitting, because with the evidential communication, working with spirit now, they are able to marry up the healing, which comes from a different part of the consciousness, with the messages. So you're getting a duality effect. Also, they very much, the intent's changed. So as the frequency of our planet has changed, so very much now, when you connect to a client or somebody in the congregation, and the spirit world brings guidance through from spirit, and your recipient says, yes, I do very much need to I'm being very generic here, change jobs. It's obviously on a higher level than that. That intent from your recipient means the energies, they are now able to make new pathways for us. So it's very much, it's become of a higher level. So they need people sitting back with spirit in order to be able to run the healing through alongside the evidential, which people have always said you can't do. You know, have it, the purity of the healing. But that's changed. But also the intent. Okay, they've asked me to simplify it. The intent of the messages has become higher. So as your recipient is agreeing, then basically their team is able to make new pathways for their road ahead. So it's become very, it's become more evolved. Moving forwards again, they want us to be open in our mediumship, evidential, so that every message will be very different depending on the needs of the recipient, and it not to be structured like it has been. So if you've got somebody that doesn't realize about we're eternal, it would be a very evidential message. But somebody, if you was giving, say, to me, then it would be very much about guidance or healing. But they can run new energies through our energy fields alongside the evidential, as long as we're opening our minds to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a great question here from Kerry. Can you see that one?
Is it? No.
And do you do this on a regular, dedicated time and space? Do you sit in with the spirit world?
So me personally, you don't have to, but the reason why people have said that is it goes back to changing your levels. So if the spirit world know you're going to sit at a set time, they will already start to change your energy field, so that when you sit, your energy field, they can create a closer connection. But you can just sit and say to the spirit world, come and sit with me, and bump, they'll be there. But by sitting at a regular time, it just means that they can change your energy field. But it's not essential, but it just means that in that moment they can do it. They can create a blending, more of a blending, that's the word. But it's not necessary, but it's more effective. So we sit every Thursday. So because of that, and they know that, they will change my levels throughout the day, ready for that.
Yeah. So I'm just going to put this banner up as well. So you do sit, you offer an opportunity, shall we say, for people to join you via Zoom. How can we do that? Is it just literally joining your group?
It is. So if you go onto Facebook and put in Libby Cook, trance, medium and development, and the angel wings you can see behind me are on there. It looks like I've got horns, actually. I've just realised, but never mind. But if you go on that Facebook page, so every Thursday, it's a recurring meeting, and we sit between 6 and past. So as a collective, and when we sit as a collective, the spirit world will balance our energies. So if you're sat as a group, they've got more of an electromagnetic field, which means they can do more things and they can balance us. So they've got a collective pool of energy in order to move everyone forwards. So yeah, we just sit. I sit in the silence because it's for the purpose of trance, but wherever you're sat in the world, you can put music on if you find that easier to sit. Whatever your soul tells you to do is what you need in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not keeping up with people's questions. They're flying in. Have you ever found an animal you can't connect with? Sorry, we're jumping around a little bit because I've said you're both.
That's fine. So depending on their personalities and what they've been through. So if I've got a very, very shut down animal, then it will take time for me to build that rapport. So if you're struggling to make a connection, just sit quietly and just ask the spirit world to bring the healing energy. And as they bring that healing energy, they will start to change the energy around the animal. And then you'll find they'll start to open up. but they're very much, animals are a reflection of what they've been through and their personalities. So just sit quietly and don't pressure them. Always allow the information to come to you. And that's with any form of mediumship. And I call animal communication mediumship because it's soul to soul, on a psychic level, soul to soul. But it's very much where you just have to be passive in your energy in that moment. And a lot of animals, especially if you're working with them in person, don't try and get into their energy fields. Just sit quietly and just say in your mind to them, when you're ready, I'm ready. I come with love, I come with trust. I'm here to help. And when you start, words carry energy. So say that in your mind energy is just as powerful as your word energy. And when you start to say that to animals around you, they'll start to open up. But don't pressure them, just allow. And when you allow, they will start to trust you back and talk.
Do you find that the aggressive animals are, maybe they have more to say than passive animals?
So honestly, it all depends, Jane. So often, if you've got aggressive animals, animals aren't naturally aggressive, unless they're in their natural habitat. So it's always it's always because of trauma or something they've been through. So in that moment, I make my energy passive, because energies are either the opposite to balance or the same to balance. So if I become very passive and calm, but you will find once they calm down, that they've got a lot to say. And it just, once they open up, it spills out. And it's often linked to owners as well. And what I mean by that is you're not just talking to the animals, and people forget this in a professional standpoint, but it's a three-way, because the owner's energy is so important. It's absolutely key to the animal moving forwards, whether they've been through trauma with somebody else. And it's that three-way conversation that changes things. It's so unique. I've never had two readings alike. Similar, yes, but complete the same, no.
Sorry. So I was just going to ask, so when you communicate with the animal, do you find that the animal's personality changes afterwards? So if it's an aggressive dog, for example, does it become a more passive or more comfortable dog?
So it all depends what they've been through. Sometimes it takes a couple of sessions for that to happen. It's often the spirit world will step in. So I work very much with the animal communication alongside the spirit world. So I will be, as I'm talking to them, I just drop passive and I allow the healing energies to move through me. So they're actually helping them on an emotional and physical aspect. So there does become a shift in the reading, but sometimes that shift happens a couple of days afterwards and their owners notice it. Sometimes there has to be a process within the animal. So it all depends on each client.
Interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh halfway through your question. Carol's asked a great. Can you see it, Jane?
Yes. Can I just bring it up, or so?
You'll pop it up.
Sure.
This made me laugh.
Has any animal ever said they don't like their human owner?
No, and the reason being, Carol, because they wouldn't. And what I mean by that is because animals are very much in the moment. So whereas we have prejudged ideas, even if an animal was being hit, it wouldn't like being hit, but it wouldn't make the distinction that other owners wouldn't do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they only ever come from an aspect of love.
Yeah.
And anyone that uses me on a professional standpoint is because they care about their animals.
Yeah.
Have I found animals abroad that are on the street and things I've chatted to? Yes. That have are wary of humans because of trauma, but they would never outwardly say they do not like one person, because that's the energy of the human mind, not the energy. They will say they don't like aspects of it. If, say, they're being hit, they'll say, I don't enjoy when I get hurt. Can you see how it's a different energy? They don't make the distinction that the human is hitting them, if that makes sense. It's because their mindset's very different. When you start working with animals a lot, they say the humans are more evolved consciously. I disagree.
I disagree too.
We're on the same page, Jane, because we might have a brain, more of a working brain, but actually consciously, the spirit energy, animals are more evolved because they're very much of the moment, they're forgiving, they're loving, they only take what they truly need. And they're very in tune to energy, especially female animals, more so than males. They will outwardly show they're taking the energy more than a male.
That makes sense. So what about this one from Sabrina?
It's another one. It's a great one there.
Okay. So what is the most memorable animal spiritual reading you've ever had?
So because I work with spirit animals as well as animals down here, I think where they've trusted me the most is when they're ready to take the transitions. Funnily enough, a lady whose horse I connected with, she asked, is it the right time? And I said, I can't answer that, but the pony shared with me that their mommy would know it was black and white, and they said that they would be galloping around the field and show that they were how they used to be, and then within an hour they would go downhill, and that would let their mommy know. And that it happened exactly like that yesterday. So it's that sacred moment where animals share that they are ready to take their transition, but more so they explain how it's going to happen to their owners. It doesn't happen very often because like that, but when an animal opens their heart and allows you in and allows that most sacred space from physical to spiritual, it's an honor and a privilege in that moment.
That's making me feel very emotional. Like, it just feels...
It's sacred, whether it's human, animals, but it's the healing for their mommy or daddy. And also when I work a lot with spirit animals, it's when they come through and they let their mom or dad know it was the right time, and they tell them in detail about holding them, wrapping them in a blanket with little spots on, but the little details and the comfort and healing for people to know that animals are eternal. So it's very much about the transitional period, or when they've crossed over, where it truly touches the soul and opens the heart.
Yeah. We're kind of going to jump a little bit back to trance again. There was a great question here. I'm just trying to find it. Sorry, guys. So Facebook user, I'm sorry, we can't see your name. How can you trust who comes through you and are not using you for other means?
Well, this is a brilliant question. So, because anything to do with the spirit world is love. So any manifestation of negativity or anything like that, that's in the mind of man. There is absolutely no negativity, nothing bad. Everything that we think of like that is being created within our own minds, our own conscious minds. So the spirit world I work with and the consciousness, and I'm sure who Paul and Jane work with, only ever come with love. There can't be any taking over view. It's a mind-to-mind connection. We're not talking physical mediumship here, although that's all changing as well. It is a mind-to-mind connection. So when they come through, and it's a brilliant question, it's something the spirit world in trance have addressed so many times, because when I work with the spirit world and I just subdue my mind and I allow them to truly have a mind-to-mind connection with me, it is pure love. At the essence of the consciousness is the energy of God. I'm not talking God in a little coat. I'm talking about the energy of all that runs through the whole of this consciousness. And that energy is pure healing, pure love, and pure light. And that's the consciousness I work with. Anything else is a manifestation of the dropping into trance. They're so naughty. So anything else is a manifestation of our own minds. Now, if you feel that you want to say things like put protection around, then that's fine. It's your journey. So allow that, because what that creates is trust. And everything we do with the spirit world has to be trust in order to allow them to work how they need to work. But from the consciousness, and what the spirit will call it consciousness, it is nothing but love. So I know nothing can ever happen to me. I know there is absolutely, I sit and do trance demos all by myself online, you know, for centers and all sorts. It comes from the God-fearing days when, back in the day, when people would talk about if it was to create a fear, negativity, and through the spirit was to create a fear of the unknown. People didn't understand it, and that's still carried on. Very much the spirit world wants people to truly understand that everything to do with the spirit world is of a higher consciousness. So it's all the elements of love, kindness, and it's literally our physical form, man, that creates fear, negativity, hate, all them emotions. Absolutely nothing to do with the spirit world. But what a brilliant question, because they're really pleased that's come through. So just know the spirit world that each and every one of us works with can never come with anything but love and kindness, and there's absolutely no fear whatsoever.
Just quickly following on from that then, which kind of loosely follows on, what's your thoughts on trance within dark or using daylight?
Well, this is an interesting one, because it's about the way they move the energies. So the mediums of old, so especially with the physical mediumship and because of ectoplasm, it's something I don't know a lot about the old physical mediumship. Okay, yeah. You've just seen they've changed the lighting in here. I've got a dimmer switch I put in for them for my trance. They're liking this question because they've just... Stop it. I do apologize. They turn it up and down, but they don't do that when they change the energy. That's the effect of them changing the energy, not that they're changing the lighting. So very much in the olden days, there was ectoplasm. So for the physical mediumship, they couldn't do it in the light. That's all changing. So that's a different subject. They've just said pause that. That's a different subject. So very much now, when you sit, they're saying that if you want to sit in the dusk, it's easier for them to move the energies and calm your mind. But it's about you, your physical mindset. Because when you sit in bright light, they very much where a lot of people can't drop down into that. The spirit world I work with are very much now where they can move the energies very differently. So before, they could move the energies in the dark, but they can do that now the same whether it's light or dark. And moving forward, the physical mediumship, a lot of it's going to be in the light. If you're talking about light as in light source, because I've heard a lot about people sitting in direct sunlight, thinking that's an energy source for the spirit world. That isn't an energy source for them. It hasn't got a stabilization effect. So very much with sitting, it can be in the dark or light, whatever you feel more comfortable with, because the more comfortable you are and the more you trust, the more they can move the energies and help with your development. It very much comes down to your own mindset. But the mediumship of old, especially the physical and even the trance where you would sit in the dark or in the dusk, the team I work with have said, for me personally, they don't need to do that. It can be light or dark. So I sit in the dusk. That's why they changed the energy and they changed the light.
Is on that, is there anything, can you feel them coming closer right now as the light changes? Is there anything they would want to give us or a message about trance?
That was a frequency change, Paul.
Okay.
So as they change the frequency, it has a direct effect on the light. It's a dimmer switch, by the way. It's not a normal light. They didn't like the original one. It didn't have enough range. So, but they've So it's gone very dusky in here. I don't know if you can see the light there, because they're very much, as I'm sat here now, they're starting to change the energy, and the people on here, they're starting to bring healing energy, and that's why you've got the frequency change. Can you see they're making me a little bit more passive and slower? But what they want to bring is for you all to sit. They're not forcing you. Nothing from the spirit world they will tell you to do. They can suggest and guide, but you're in a physical form. Yeah. So they're very much asking for us to just sit. It doesn't have to be for long periods of time. What's 5-10 minutes in our world, in the spirit world, is so much longer, because we're in a physical form, a dense physical form. We get an elongation. So 5-10 minutes here means they can do a lot more. It's not 5-10 minutes. So they want us to just sit. It doesn't have to be fancy. All you do is just sit quietly, and it's about your intent. And just say to your team, I am ready. I am open. Whatever you need from me in this moment, bring to me. Develop me. I accept. I allow. I am one with the consciousness. But it comes from your own heart space. As long as it comes from your own heart, when you ask them to come in, and they don't want us to have boundaries. There has been so much in the past where we've got, we create boundaries. The spirit world have got no boundaries. We've got boundaries. The spirit world haven't, and that's really what they need to change. They kept me away from all trance mediums. I had barely seen trance when I started sitting for trance, and I now know why, because they couldn't allow me to have a preconception about what it was. In order for it to be new, I couldn't know what the old was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally.
And that's what they want. They just would love us all to sit, so that we are working with the spirit world and not on a... There's nothing wrong with working psychic, absolutely not. But they would like more spiritual mediums, because they can only bring the energies when we connect to the spirit world, not obviously on a psychic level. So that's what they'd like more of. People to form their own sitting circles on Zoom. Yeah. And just to sit with the spirit world, but to create that intent from the heart. Because when we do that with no boundaries, and not to go searching, just to allow, because they're saying to me now that we have too much expectation about what we want, where our development should go, this, that, and the other, and they're laughing. They said we have a shopping list, some of us, when we sit. But all we need to do is just literally sit and leave it to them. And by sitting and leaving it to them without boundaries, then they can truly bring the magic. They can truly bring the new. And that's what they want. There's massive shifts, huge shifts within everything under the mediumship banner. The way they're teaching, the energies, all new stuff physically, trance work. It's a very exciting time to be a medium.
Absolutely. So in terms of development, in terms of going on courses or sitting with spirit and your team, what would you recommend is more power? Do you think it should be a balance of both, or just literally sitting with your team? I know some of the old pioneers were self-taught, but what would you recommend?
Be soul-led. And the reason why I say that, our true teachers are always the spirit world. They've got to be. But in order to... So us as teachers, we are facilitators. And teachers are fabulous because it enables you then to work on your gifts. It enables you to come together. It gives you guidance. But you will know where you're meant to be. So you've got to sit in order to develop. Every time we sit with the spirit world, it changes our energy. There's no coming back from that. It changes our frequency. It actually changes the structure of our energy. So that is fundamental to move forward, but it's got to be fun. So go on classes. You'll find some teachers will resonate with you, but remember, just take from teachers what resonates. Yeah. Because all teachers is facilitators, because the spirit world will teach you. And remember, your journey is unique. Nobody can tell you what's right or wrong on your journey. And a lot of people within spiritualism have egos, unfortunately, which there's nothing to do with spirit. So in order to truly develop, just sit when you want to. And what I mean by that, some people think, oh my God, I've got to sit so many times a day or so many times a week. And that becomes rigid. When you think, yeah, I think I need to sit. So follow your soul, because your soul will tell you exactly what you need. When you see a course and you think, oh, I fancy that, that hasn't just popped there because it's popped there. That's your soul leading you to that course. And it's also, sometimes it's not about the teachings on course, it's about the people you meet. So very much the spirit world wants us on our journeys to all be unique, to not allow boundaries, but to enjoy it. It should be fun and it should touch you. And I mean, when you connect to spirit, and this is what they're really bringing, is so that your recipient feels the spirit world, the consciousness that you do when you sit. So follow your soul, people, and you will always be placed where you're meant to be. And I know the next question is going to be, well, how do we follow our soul? It's when it feels right, you're following your soul. If something doesn't feel right, or you've been, there you go, they've just turned the light right up. So naughty, they're playing with us tonight. So they like it. They also, I forgot to tell you, when we sit for trials and they really like things, they will play with the lighting and they're loving this. So you will know when you're following your soul, because it will feel right. If you've been with a teacher for a while and you're like, oh, I can't be bothered to go on that class anymore, that's your soul telling you. Yeah. It's time to move along. So be very much soul-led.
Yeah, I love that. We should say good evening to them, by the way. They're right behind you. We should say hello.
Yes, we should. Hello.
I feel like we should introduce them as well. But hello to the spirit world behind you, Libby.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I don't know how much you saw, but that's quite amusing because they really.
It my camera was trying to pick up on it, and your camera, sorry, was trying to pick up on it and focus on it. So yeah, it changed the focus of your picture, which is quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But they do. So when we're sat afterwards, after we sat for trance, and we're talking about things that they really like, they'll change the energy on purpose so it changes the light. You know, it's just them still saying, yeah, thumbs up. And that's what they want. They want it to be fun. It should be fun. It should never be a burden or a chore. And if it is, you're not on the right path. And never be afraid of coming away from one path and starting another. You know, don't get fixated on one thing, because you don't know what the spirit world's going to be bringing. So just release the expectation and just be.
Yeah, agreed, to be guided. And that all comes down to that word trust as well. Trust.
Trust. I've got a little slogan, Paul. So I always say to my students, I say trance is trust, but really it should be mediumship is trust, because once we trust and allow, that's when everything just works.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I kind of don't want to go away from trance, but there's been also a couple of questions about animals, and Carol's asked a question. Do the guys know what's happening with avian flu, and if the poor birds will be okay eventually?
Okay, so the spirit, I would have to drop into trance for that. But so you've got to remember that within our world, whether this is with humans or animals, there's always disease. There is always disease, and there's always an ebb and flow, whether it's foot and mouth, COVID. There is always an evolution and a turning point, and they're just speeding up the energy as we're talking about this. I know there is a solution coming, they're saying. There is a solution coming, but it's very much about, there has to be a balance in the world. There has to be an ebb and flow, they're saying. And in order to it creates something else. This is very much of our world and not of their world. They've just said to me, this is very much of a physical doing, and that's what they said, about COVID and other things.
Yeah.
But if you look back, they've just said within history, there has always been some sort of bird flu and an ebb and flow. I don't know how true that is.
Okay.
And so they're saying, and they've just done this with the energy, and they're just saying things are starting to settle. Things are starting to settle.
Good. That's good to know. It's good to hear. And your words are going down really well. A lot of people are saying you're inspirational and some great words and a breath of fresh air, Libby.
Oh, bless. Well, it's very much the spirit world's words, but this is what they want. And the fact the people have recognized that we're all the new consciousness. We're the new evolution. Every single one of us, everyone that's on here this evening, their souls led them here. It's very much, and as we're talking about things, it's changing people's energy fields just by talking about it.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah, and that's an interesting. Sorry, Facebook user, you might have to identify yourself, so I don't keep calling you Facebook user. Now, someone's just said this particular person, love and light. Now, and this is the thing with the spiritual communities. A lot of people that actually say love and light, but they don't actually live or walk that kind of. Oh, Maureen. Hello, Maureen. Thank you, Maureen.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Love and light, they don't actually mean that. They kind of they're not very authentic, or they're not in balance with themselves. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of falseness. It will
lose the energy then, Paul. And this is what the spirit world's really talking about. The energy of our thoughts is just as powerful as the energy of our words out of our mouth. And when we repeat words, just for repeating's sake, like prayer loses all its intent and its energy if it's just repeated from somebody else.
Yeah.
When we talk from our spirit self, which is the energy of the heart and the energy of the spirit, then it carries an energy with it. And when we use words like love, God, any energy like that, it's creating an energy. And when we actually use them words, the spirit world can use the energy of them for healing. Yeah. It's actually it's an energy. Our words are energy.
But people don't realize how powerful our words are. Is it something to do with the physical reality that we live in? It's more, this is the densest reality. I've heard that being said a few times, that it's the most densest reality, and our words are really powerful if it's said with the right intent.
So the intent is everything, but our words carry energy, and the intent of the energy of our words has increased because the frequency and the consciousness of the dimension we're living in has increased. So it carries a higher aspect at the minute. We're not actually the densest in this human form, Paul. They've asked me to correct you. There are many other forms within other physical forms. When they made human physical form, am I okay to talk about this? Or is this going a bit off on one? Okay. I just didn't know how open we are. So this has come through in the trance work. When they made the human form, they very much made us so we weren't part of the collective consciousness. We are that means that for evolution of our soul, they are able to evolve us a lot more by being in a human form, because we are able to hurt one another. Actions of other people only affect us. The us as one, where a lot of the other dimensions we are still collective. But there are other physical forms that are a frequency-wise not as high frequency as a human form. Where not newer souls, that's the wrong word, structurally less evolved souls will have to move dimensionally through that. That's probably gone off a little bit on one, hasn't it? I do apologize.
No, I was just thinking, I know a few of those.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love that, yes.
Well, I don't mean to belittle it, but yeah, I understand. But it's interesting and fascinating in terms of sorry, Rachel's great comment from Rachel on here. Our thoughts are just as powerful to self as well as to others.
I couldn't agree more. And so much now, Rachel. Oh, it's Rachel Arnold. I know Rachel Arnold. Yeah, Rachel Arnold's a good friend of mine. I didn't know she was on. But that is right. The energy of our thoughts, as we've had a shift in frequency, the energy of our thoughts is more powerful. And that's on a negative and a positive front. So when we think of love now in our minds, or we show love to one another, it's a higher energy. That love is more tangible. But when we go the opposite, and I'm not even going to use the opposite words because we don't want to create that energy, but that energy, then our words as well have just asked me to add this in. This has come out in the trance. Our words very much now can change our own energy. They always have been able to, but more powerfully now. So self-love is so important.
Absolutely. So by redefining or even if we don't believe it of self, by saying it or thinking it of self-love or we're worthy, it reprograms who we are.
Yeah, you become it.
Yeah.
Because our energy field and the energy of our mind is connected.
You know,
it's powerful.
If anybody watches the Dalai Lama on Facebook or follows him on Facebook, now I know that he sat in meditation on just using the one word compassion. And I've seen him walk in a room and children burst into tears for no reason, because the love that comes off him is so unconditional. Children just are moved by his presence. So therefore, we could all do that. I know people that have practiced loving kindness. Again, you can feel their love around them in their aura, you know. And I wish we could, maybe we should have a daily practice of just meditating on the words love and kindness and starting from within. Can you imagine what the world would be like?
Beautiful.
It would be a very different world. Yeah. And it is interesting that you said children, because before children are programmed, they're more in tune to their spiritual aspect. So they're more in tune to energies like animals are.
Yeah.
So the fact children would just burst into tears. But it's true, when we create something in our mind, it is intrinsically linked with our energy field. And that's the same with self-healing, with everything. We are what we think.
Absolutely.
Very true.
Absolutely. Gandhi used to talk about this all the time. I know I bang on about this all the time. We become what we think. We become it eventually. It becomes our deeds and our actions. So watching our thoughts on a daily basis are really important. Yeah.
It is. It's not easy though, because we're human. We are in this. Let's be honest, guys. It really is. I mean, that's why I've got Pablo the pig, because when I look out of my window and he's on my lawn, the absolute joy, and I'm not exactly, he brings to me, it literally just fills my heart with love, and that changes my energy and sets me up for the day.
Do you mind sharing why you called him Pablo?
So I got him off a fabulous lady, but he was called Pablo from Pablo Escobar.
I love that.
Yeah. So and when I say the spirit all sent him, I've never felt love like it. It was on a soul to soul connection. I was at a yard doing animal communication. I dropped to my knees when I saw him, and I cried. I've never physically felt such an instant soul to soul connection. It was extraordinary. Yeah.
Great comment is coming from Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda. It's difficult when one overthinks and is going through depression. I mean, is there something that would help us with that in terms of people that are in that mindset? I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had my moments. We all go into those darker moments, but I've never been into that phase. I know I've had contacts that have come through that just get into that mindset where they can't get themselves out of it, you know? So is there anything you could, or spirit could give you that might help someone?
Well, that's about the healing. So when you're going through the darkest of days, you don't feel like you can see the light, but just sit with yourself and just allow and just ask the spirit world to bring you healing. Just say in your mind, I need help, I need healing. And just that alone the spirit world will start to change the energy. But it's within the mind of man, depression, and it's the hardest thing in the world. And sometimes it's part of your soul's journey. And just trust and believe that you will come out of the dark into the light. But remember that the light is within each and every one of us. They've just said to me as well to just sit and think of light. And when you think of light, it will ignite something in your soul. And that will ignite something in your thoughts and allow you to move forward on this path.
So purely, this is one of the main things that I was given from my guides. Your intention is everything.
Because your intention, so think of us without a body. so when you're spirit, you are just thought. Think about that. So you haven't got a voice box. You haven't got all this movement. What you are is conscious thought, hence the word conscious. So now can you see that your intent and your thoughts is everything? Because that is everything you are without a physical form.
But the knowledge of this, and I really can't emphasize this enough, is magic, because it's transformational, it's enlightening, it's everything. And if we can realize how powerful our intention is, it will literally change your world.
It will, yeah. It's literally everything, but it's hard to practice that as well, because we are human.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. That when someone cuts me up on the M11, I'm not happy. I've got to be honest. I'm not
your
saying
intention's very different,
yeah,
Paul.
I'd love to say, see, this is where I'm a hypocrite and say love and light to you, sir.
Yeah, but we don't.
No, one guy pulled out on me. I nearly killed him. I'm like,
yeah, it is, and we're human. But you're completely right, Paul, because it's if we start to recognize our mindset creates something, and it's about recognizing it. Once we recognize it, we can change it. Mm-hmm. And just by trying to have a positive thought over things, so it's glass half full, not half empty, it will change everything around you, because like attracts like. So when we are negative in our thought process, then it is a negative energy. It actually changes the frequency of our energy field, they've just said to me. So that's how powerful our thoughts are at the minute. So when you are negative, it creates a lower frequency in your energy field, and that then creates negative things. Everything you then see, negativity creates negativity. So if you can just get up and write, especially the lady who's got depression, just like one thing you're thankful for, and that could just be that you've got up in the morning. I know it sounds daft.
Yes, Rhonda's son. Yeah, so we wish you all the best, Rhonda. It's so sad, isn't it, when someone is struggling?
So we sit for trance healing. So the spirit would have just said we will sit for the healing for her son.
So would it be good for him to join? Could he join in with something like this? Could he come along?
So we do trance healing most Tuesdays, but the Tuesday isn't set in stone. But most Tuesdays you just sit, and he doesn't even have to come on Zoom. You don't have to be present. It's the intent of it. So her son, we've already mentioned his name, so that intent's there. So they will help use some of the energies that are created for her son anyway. But even if he just wants to sit quietly, this Tuesday at 6 o'clock, and just sit quietly, and he'll be part of the collective. He'll be part of the healing regardless, because we've created that intent. Just the mere mention of his name, they're already starting to spin energy around his head, they've told me, for the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
Because when we talk about healing, it creates healing. And they're able then to move the energies for the healing.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, that was my tablet again.
Do you know you're on Spiritual Talk online?
Honestly.
I've got a long one here. I can't put it up on the screen because it will cover your face, Libby. So Jenny has said in a comment, this has made me smile. I've been listening to Libby. I want to say I don't believe this, then corrected myself. I do believe this. I had Portal on Zoom earlier and it just came on and stated displaying my fur babies that I have gone over the Rainbow Bridge. Sorry for the mispronouncing some of the words.
Okay.
This is text type. I miss my dog so much. This was a great treat to you, Spirit. Actually, I did a message today for a lady, and I obviously can't divulge names, etc. But her father came through, and so did these 2 Labradors.
Oh, lovely.
And I know they even said how one was he wanted and one was given to him. One he went and got himself, and one was given to him later on, which is beautiful. So the animals will, and he came in with the animals as well, which is beautiful.
And they want more of that, Paul. The spirit world, there's a lot of us where, especially people that are worried what somebody in the spirit world is going to say, they will automatically open up when we bring animals through. And the spirit world very much want us to connect into the energy of animals just as much alongside humans, and they will bring what is needed in that moment. So,
okay. I'm folding my arms, so I'm going to make a statement, okay? Because there's some mediums out there that believe that the spirit world and animals are not connected.
Well, it's a different frequency. It's a soul. So when we connect to the spirit world, we're actually connecting to the energy of the soul. It's a denser energy. Our actual spirit energy permeates the consciousness. So as mediums, we are connecting to the energy of the soul. So when we connect to animals, we are connecting to the energy of the animal souls. Their soul is of a different structure and density, but it is still part of the consciousness. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. So,
okay.
Can we then make an assumption that our loved ones are together with our beloved pets?
So, because they were energetically linked on Earth, yeah. So when we connect, there's an aspect of their soul and our loved one's soul of a human form that's integrated and connected. And once you have a soul connection, you have an energy connection. And energy will always mirror each other. So an aspect of that soul will always be with the aspect of the human soul. And this is why they often come through together.
I mean, I love this subject. It's fantastic.
Yes.
Two of my favorite subjects, trance and animals. So also now, is it true? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. You're probably going to laugh at me for saying it, asking this question. Someone has told me that cats absorb the owner's negative energy. And if you see like a fat cat, you know the person's quite negative, their owner. Is this true? Is there any truth in this?
So animals balance our energy. Absorb is the wrong word, but animals balance our energies. So the shape of the animal, whether it's fat, thin, or that's irrelevant. But energetically, cats are very spiritual. They have got a lot of healing energy that can be run through them for their owners. So you will often find cats very much are healing animals. And because of that, they will change the energy of their owner. So they're not absorbing as such. That's the wrong word. What they are doing is balancing. They're creating a balance. So their owner's energy, they will change the frequency so it's increased to match the cat's. The cat's energy doesn't come down. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a negative energy field with a negative energy field. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So absorb's the wrong word. Balance is the word that they like to use. But the fact it's fat, it just means it's having a lovely life, like Pablo.
Oh, yeah. It's fed really well. So it does get fed really well, their cat. So I've got a comment here from Louise. Hi, Louise. I love this thought that our beloved pets will be there for us when we pass. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Any form that's got a soul, energetically, when we go back to the consciousness, we have a connection to. So that's all the people we've loved, all the animals we've loved, even if it's a bird, a fish. When our soul connects and creates that love for one another, it's the energy of love that creates the connection.
So, okay, let's talk about wildlife then. So we're out on safari in Africa. Obviously, we can't get close to an lion or an elephant, but we can appreciate their splendor and their beauty. I mean, I mean, connecting to the natural world is a beautiful thing. So how does that, okay, this is a bit of a loaded question, really. I'm sorry to ask this question. So when we mass produce animals and slaughter them for food, how does that affect humanity?
So when we are doing it because there is a need, it's a very different energy to a want. So if you have to kill one animal in order for you to be able to eat, can you see the energy of that is a need? When we mass produce animals and there is massive waste, etc., that is a want, not a need. So energetically, it's very different. So when you see animals naturally, you know, within the food chain naturally, it's a very different energy. That's a natural evolution. Whereas us mass producing animals, especially with a surplus, that has got a negative aspect to it. I would never tell anyone whether to eat meat, not to eat meat, because we've all got our own choices, and that should be how it is. We should, but what our choices are will have an effect on our energies.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was told once that even the simple prayer or the gratitude for our food raises the vibration of what we're eating to honor the process of the animal giving its life for us to be nourished. Would you agree with that?
Well, it's the acknowledgement.
Yeah,
that's what that is. So when you are thanking the animal, there's an acknowledgement there that in order for you to eat that animal, it's had to transition.
Yeah.
So it's the acknowledgement of that changes the energy. Does that make sense?
It does.
That's where the intent is, the acknowledgement. They've just said that, not me.
Okay. That absolutely. I became a pescatarian. I still eat fish, but I became a pescatarian in February, and I've noticed my energy has become finer, that I'm getting better evidence in my mediumship.
But you see, because especially your soul would have led you down that path. What it is as your frequencies changed, and this is about your frequency, Paul, as your frequencies change, your soul has taken you on a journey where there's an acknowledgement that you don't need to be eating meat to sustain your physical form. And because of that, you've had a raise in consciousness. So it won't sit right with you. But that's not to say, obviously, it doesn't sit right with other people. We're not here to tell people what not to do. But you will find a lot of people that have changed their consciousness. Their soul will lead them on a path where they make certain choices. There will be very evident changes, whether that's not eating meat or their social circles or their physical life. Yeah.
Interesting. Can you see that Facebook user
question? I can, yes.
We'll flash it up. This is interesting question.
This is interesting.
Again, sorry for the Facebook user. If you let us know who you are, we'll give you a quick shout.
So, Libby, do your team have any thoughts on this move then towards eating bugs and how that's going to affect our energy?
Okay, so, but this is very much, okay, I'm just asking them. So what does this Facebook user actually mean on the thoughts of the move? Because they've just said to me, since the creation of man has eaten bugs. So can they elaborate? Because that's what my team's just said to me. There's nothing different. Are they on about that it's got a different conscious aspect to eating meat? Is that what they're asking?
Yeah, that's Kelly Shepherd. Hello, Kelly. Lovely.
So I know Kelly Shepherd as well. So Kelly, you need to, if that was your question, you need to be a little more concise, because the consciousness have just said very much that from the beginning of time, and that we're actually going back to a time where we are becoming how we were before, because we used to eat bugs all the time. We used to, anything that was around us that was natural, that would sustain us, is what we would eat. So is that what the question was, Paul and Jane, or have I gone off on a tangent?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's what it is.
I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there thinking like that thing, I'm a celebrity, get me out here, when I eat all sorts of bugs. You're stuck on an island and you got to experiment what makes you ill, what doesn't.
Ugh,
I'm not
pass.
sure if I'm ready for bug food yet.
No, me neither.
But it's just talking about going back to a time when that was a very natural course, where we would eat bugs and animals. We were hunter-gatherers, weren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Great question as well from Julie, or comment, I should say, from Julie.
So Julie wrote, when I keep bees, I always tell them of my problems. They always make me feel so much better afterwards as they feel around me.
Oh, Julie, kindred spirit. Now, bees are one of the most spiritual animals you could possibly have, my dear. So can I explain why?
Yes.
So can I just show you I'm in my spirit room. Let me just show you this, Julie. I'm sorry for getting up. Can you see my bees there? Yeah, and on my, sorry, I'm taking you on a tour, but can you see that as well?
Yes.
The bee. Okay, so let me just put you back down. So bees are an actual replication of the consciousness. So the hexagonal that they sit in is the only shape that can permeate all the consciousness. They're not meant to fly, so aerodynamically, they don't know that. And that's very much what the spirit world, there's a lot of bee stuff going about at the minute. You know, like you'll see bees everywhere on furniture. And it's because we can do anything when we haven't got boundaries in our mind. The queen bee is very much like the energy of God. It's like the one that keeps everything together. But the workers are us, because when we go floating off, that's us in our human form. When we come back as part of the hive, we're part of the collective consciousness. So it's a replication, and without bees, we wouldn't have the human form. So that's why your bees, you're so connected to them. Bees are just fabulous, yeah. And also coming, there you go, thank you. What come out in the trance as well, you know, the
Yeah.
that very much carries a healing frequency, is what they said in the trance. I didn't remember that. It's just come out of my subconscious. So they are one of the most spiritual animals you can get. Okay, I was told yesterday that bees, I can't read this because I'm on my phone.
So I was told yesterday that the bees clear energy blockages.
So what it is the vibration of the bees. It's the hum, the bzzz, it's a frequency. So their frequency is able to change frequencies around. So if you want to call it energy blockages, but it's a healing energy they carry. It's a frequency that come out in the trance, by the way. That's a lot of the information I'm giving tonight is coming from them. It's either come out in the trance before, or I link to them to give it to you. To
be fair, Libby, a lot of information that you've been given, you can tell it's coming from spirit.
Yeah, it's the Kelly Shepherd and Rachel Arnold who know me will know I don't talk like this unless I'm in a bit of an altered state. I'm whenever I teach or do anything like this, I'm always connected to spirit so that they can answer your questions, not me.
Yeah. I should also say, guys, we also offer a free half-hour free reading to someone who shared. So if you shared, let us know, because I can't believe we've been going an hour and 20 minutes, Libby. We've almost finished. Oh, and you've done like a 6-hour stint today as well. Now I have in the cold,
but it was obviously meant to be, because they didn't, by the time I came in, they haven't altered my levels. So they obviously knew that they wanted my levels still to be changed in order to do this live.
We're in about 5 minutes. We'll get you to look at who shared on the comments. Can you see the comments on your phone?
Unfortunately not, no.
Oh, no. Well, if you don't mind, when you finish, you can still, when we go off air, you can go through the comments and see people that have shared. If you can add a comment of who you think should win, and then we'll give, I think it's my turn, Jane, isn't it?
It is your turn, yes.
My turn. So viewers get a free half-hour reading. It's kind of our way of saying thank you for following us and watching us and sharing the information that our wonderful mediums, trance mediums, healers, etc., give to the general public, because this is all free, what you've given tonight, and it's really valuable and valid information. And I know a lot of people that sit and watch us have said they've learned so much from Spiritual Talk. It's good to hear, because we give up our time free for this. Well, you say that, actually it's for spirit, isn't it? Really,
Thanks.
It is for the spirit world. So yeah, people are saying they're shared. Yeah, Mario's off already, but I want to ask you what's next though, Libby, for you on your journey.
I don't know. No, seriously. So the old Libby had an expectation.
Okay.
And, well, I thought I knew where it was going, and what I realized, that was creating a boundary. So now I just am. I just allow. There's been big changes in the trance. The last time I sat. Sorry. There's been a big frequency change. So there is going to be a lot of new things coming in. I'm very much about the healing, very much about the physical aspect of healing as well. I know there's big changes there already. So I'm excited, but I don't truly know what's going to happen, because otherwise I've got an expectation, and an expectation creates a boundary. Yeah, it's something that I had to learn the hard way. So now I've just got to allow it. But it's all very much about the new aspects of mediumship. Very much the new aspects of how they want to work on the platform, whether that's trance, physical, healing, even the animal communication's changed. So there's been massive shifts, which align to the shifts in the consciousness of the planet. Well, the shift in the consciousness of this dimension. They've corrected me.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, Liz has put, she shared in pretty much everywhere in the world. Yes. Also, there was a great
well done, Liz.
Great comment from Rachel.
Oh, bless her. I'm just very proud of you. Yeah, I get called Libster. So Rachel, yeah, is cool, bless her. She does a lot for spiritualism, so does Kelly Shepherd. And it's just beautiful how on our journeys, how we are all interwoven within one another, where we've all helped each other and part of a collective. So it's a lovely journey to be a part of, but it's very much your own unique journey. And don't ever allow anyone to put you down or not feel good on this journey, because it's very much, it should be about empowering each other, always working in a loving space. And if you're not feeling that, then you're not in the right place or with the right person or teachers. I mean, Jane and Paul, you've got beautiful energy. I must just stress that. And
thank you.
You're both very open. You've both got very beautiful energy.
Thank you. Checks in the post.
You're welcome.
Can I ask? Sorry, Libby, honestly, great thanks for tonight. You've been absolutely amazing. And you stepped in for the lastminute.com. I spoke to you on Monday. Because our poor guest couldn't make it tonight, and it's obviously meant to be. But can I ask you one more question before we go?
You can indeed.
And it's on pets. Okay, so a friend of mine that I work with, a friend of his that I also work with, is a bit of a healer, or is a healer, not a bit of. he healed his dog. Now it's opened the other guy's mind up, so much so he came to see me do a demonstration. He was blown away. But just that healing is really open, touching the spirit. But what I wanted to ask you, for all those people that have got pets at home, and how can we give them healing?
It's just the thought of it. So you literally just sit there and sit quietly and say, bring the healing energies. But just by giving your dog a hug or a snuggle, you're actually healing them. You're using your own energy to heal them. But to do spiritual healing, then all you do is just say, can you please bring the healing? Bring the healing, and just set your dog as the intent. And that's all you need to do. It's as simple as that. And they'll bring the healing energies. But the more you sit and allow the healing to come through, the more your frequency will change, and then they can bring different frequencies forward. So the more we do it, the better at it we will get. Yeah. But it's as simple as that. Healing's healing, and it's all about the minute we ask for healing for somebody else or a pet or anybody, the healing energies will start. But in its purest form, just giving your dog some love, or when you have concern if it isn't right, just that concern alone will bring about a healing from you to the pet.
Yeah. Libby Cook, you are a star.
You are.
Thank you so much. We love having you on. And I know we talked before we went to air about doing a little Christmas message for us as well.
I did. From the sorry, Paul, I'm so rude for interrupting.
No, carry on.
I was just saying, from the collective consciousness, I will do you a 10-15 minute for everyone from my team for Christmas.
So look out for that, people. That'll be on the 21st. Myself, Alice, and Jane. Alice is back with me next week because Jane, you're off up country, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going up island to spend some time with my mom.
Yeah. Well, we hope you have a safe journey, because it's quite treacherous in places.
It is, yes. Some places it's
but we'll see. Alice and I will see you all back here next week, everybody. And it's time to say goodbye already. Thanks for joining, everybody, and we'll see you this time next week. Take care.
Bye.
Good night. God bless everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.